preseason match number 1 against Chattanooga FC. By the way, I do want to drop this little nugget in here as well. Doug Robertson reporting. So Atlanta United were guys supposed to have just the 5 preseason matches, Chattanooga first, Birmingham, and then a couple in Bradenton, Florida at IMG, and then one against FC Dallas at the training ground. Doug Robertson did report that Ronnie Dyla said that Atlanta are going to be playing Orlando City in Bradenton. Pieces aren't fully in place, right? We haven't seen our full look at what this Atlanta United roster will look like. I mentioned the new guys, Togashi, of course, and then the big one, for now at least, is Cleek. But you see some of the newer guys, the guys that came in the middle of the season, namely Amador, getting their first preseason with Atlanta United. I feel like that means a lot. You can't draw too much from it, right? But it's an opportunity, guys, and whoever wants to chime in first, go ahead. It's an opportunity to, again, get our first look. Tyler, you're like, let's blow the doors off the thing. 6-0, 7-0 scoreline.
Yeah, man. I need them to come out hot. Set the tone for the rest of the season.
Right.
I'm gonna be. We were talking about it on Soccer Down Here this morning with John and Jarrett. Yes, you don't want to take a whole lot from preseason matches. I get that.
Yeah.
Scoreline, all that good stuff. It is what it is. It's preseason. Yeah. You're going to get probably 30, maybe 45 from your expected starters. And then you're going to get maybe 60, then maybe 75. And then maybe by that last game, they'll be up to 90 and it'll be almost regular. That's what you do. I want everybody on the same page. I want to see the discipline. I want to see what Ronnie Dyla has been implementing in his very short tenure, obviously. It's not like he's had a whole lot of time to do much, but I just want to see a team that wants it. That's my biggest thing. Because if you want it during preseason when it doesn't matter, then you want it all the time. Like, you should just want to win. I go play video games with my kids, and I want to beat the crap out of them. I don't care. I want to win. I'm a good father. No,
you are.
Seriously,
you're a good dad.
I appreciate it. But no, I mean, that's the mindset, right? Like, you just want to have that mindset of coming out hot, like come out ready to go. And that doesn't change just because it's a preseason match. Like, yeah, you can lose, but if you do, don't lose. But if you do lose, make it, to where the fans see, like, you did everything you could. There was something just went weird. Like, it is what it is. I just want to see. I want to see world beaters.
There's got to be room for mistakes, margin for mistakes. Dyla said, it's okay to make mistakes, but if you're making the same mistake over and over again, that's a problem. I feel like initially there'll be some little blips in the radar, some little wrinkles that the players need to kind of tune up, because after all, it is preseason. No, absolutely. Come out and, want to prove yourself, especially I'll say this, especially the younger guys, right? We've talked about Matthew Edwards. We've talked about Will Riley, Luke Brennan. I want to see the younger guys kind of rise up and show that, hey, I deserve a place in the first team. Maybe it's not going to be a lot of minutes initially, but I deserve to be in that discussion to get first team football with this team.
Look, I'll say this much, especially for the first couple of games, I'm not so much worried about the result, because here's the thing. More likely than not, these first couple of matches are going to be to assess kind of fitness, how players are getting into form. And also, I mean, you're probably going to see a lot of them also trying out some players from the second team, some of the reserves.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens those first couple of games. You're just building up fitness and that stuff. And by that point, Dyla hasn't really had time to really implement too much in terms of tactics. I mean, he's led training for all of a week and a half at this point. It's not that much. Now, once we start getting into, you go to Bradenton for the camp, you face, New England, Cincinnati, Orlando, you come back and face Dallas before opening day. That's when I'm going to start expecting them to, look competitive, to look a little bit more like what we should expect them to look like in the regular season. That's where I'm going to really be paying attention to kind of the style of play, how things are, what patterns are showing up, how are they trying to attack, how are they trying to build up, what does the press look like, what are the triggers, all those little kind of tiny aspects. Those are the things I start to look at once they start playing MLS competition, because at that point,
Right.
they're expected to kind of be up to that level of fitness. It's like, okay, now we're not so much worried about fitness. We're more worried about how are the players adjusting tactically. So we'll see. And I really, 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 really hope that they get these DPs in for at least, so they can at least get that last match
Against Dallas.
against Dallas.
Yeah.
And that way, like if they play in that match, I'm more confident about them starting opening day. If they do not get to play in that match, I'm not sure. But yeah, what I'm looking for right now out of these first two matches, more so than anything, is build up that fitness, and then after that, let's start looking at the tactical identity, whether Dyla's message is getting through, and how the players are responding to that.
Let's say, you have a couple of rough patches here right in the very beginning where you just don't do as well as you should. To me, preseason, what you can take out of it is one of two things. Either you see what you've done wrong and you fix it, or you see what you've done wrong and it becomes glaringly obvious and worse as the season goes on because you didn't fix it. And I think we kind of saw a lot of that over the past couple of preseasons. It's not a knock on Pineda. This is not a knock on any of the coaching staff that was here before. But I think if you go back and look at some of those preseason matches from the past couple of years, there were things about, the buildup that we liked and we saw it. And when it worked well, it was good. But then we saw those mental, just dumb mistakes that they got punished on so badly. One thing would fall apart and everything would come unraveled. And then you see it in the regular season, but then you see it against sides that you really shouldn't be losing against either, like the Open Cup. And so I feel like that's where you're going to see a lot more from Ronnie Dyla, because
he's
again,
gonna really be on him, say, hey, we gotta cut that stuff out.
Yeah, and we've already heard that from the players too. I mean, when Derek Williams spoke, that's one of the things he said. Like, yeah, we're expecting this from you. This is what we want, and if you don't live up to that, we're gonna have problems. And you heard it from Dyla himself after Tuesday's training session. He's like, we need players that want to be here, right?
Yeah.
We need players that want to come and play. So I love that attitude, man. I love that in a coach, and it's like, okay, the players that I'm going to have playing, right? They're the ones that are going to leave their heart out on the field, that are going to, run around and do what needs to be done for the entire time that they're on the field. And then, at the end, they collapse from exhaustion because they've given just everything. You know what I'm saying? It's the effort that you're looking for. And it's some of that we've talked about before. It's like, it feels like that's been missing in this team, especially like this last season, and some of those games that could have been wins or could have been, not lost in the last minute or something like that. It's that type of thing where, the teams that really want it and that have the attitude, the right players that have the right attitude, like that's where the difference is seen in those small moments. And I think Dyla knows how to get the most of that out of these players.